also relatively new to our group and also a member of 2 clubs. So, 3. That's right. He's also photography club. But he's in a group that we'll see. I'm going to bust you back to 2 because the other one hasn't chartered yet. But I will mention at this moment the IRS down the street on Watt is forming a group, and they haven't quite chartered yet, but they're up to about 11 or 14 out of their 20 required. So if you want to go check it out, give them your support and maybe fill a role if you need to, if they need you to. It's a nice group of people, and they're just finding their way through Toastmasters. So they meet on Thursdays, every other Thursday. So next Thursday. All right, having made that plug, and hopefully everybody's finished their writing, I'd like to call on Gabe Pardo. He's going to tell us what King Arthur learns what women want.
Okay, great, thank you, Ken. Before I begin my presentation here, speech, Ken, I just wanted to mention that this reminds me of a cartoon way back, and some of you may remember this. Does everybody remember, what's his name? He was a turtle, and he would always, and there was a wizard. Remember that one? And what he'd always say at the end, "Trizzle, trazzle, trizzle, true, time for this one to come home," because Tuttle the turtle, right? He'd always say, "I don't want to be a baseball player anymore, or a skydiver, or whatever." And for us at work, sometimes as we were doing our job, we were all revenue agents, and we'd have a tough day. At the end of the day, "I don't want to be a revenue agent anymore." For you guys, you're probably sick of dealing with water, right? That was great. So this afternoon, I'd like to travel back in time, and we're going back to medieval times. Everybody know about King Arthur, the Round Table, knights, swords. It was all fun, right? Nobody got hurt. Wasn't it safe back then? Not, right? So, once upon a time, King Arthur of the Round Table was out and about, and of course he was captured, and the opposing monarch said, "Tell you what, I'll spare you your life if you can answer this question." Okay, what's the question? And he says, "What do women really want?" Does anybody know? Okay, Igor knows. What a volunteer.
What women want is that everything. Be careful.
Be careful.
Be careful. The women want that everything is the way they want.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other daring? Stay away from this one.
One more.
Okay. Fellow Toastmasters and guests. What we came up with was a very perplexing situation, right? Because what the monarch said was, if you don't answer this question, then we'll just put you to death. So upon hearing that, he says, what? Okay, I'm going to do it, right? And so he said, "Tell you what, I'll give you a year, 1 full year to think about this, to figure out what women want."
More than I get.
Some of us get. No, actually, for me, it was like 9 months. But at any rate, so he took on the proposition, and so immediately he started polling his whole kingdom, right? He asked the priests, the princesses, even the court jester. And do you think they have the answer? No, not to his satisfaction. So finally he goes to his royal court and he said, "Well, what do you guys think? Like, let's put all our heads together, right? We got to come up with, this is my life, right?" So one of the court, what would their position be? Not emperors.
Knights.
I guess it'd be another knight, right? He says, "Your Lordship, I think our only solution is that we consult with the old witch, the old local witch, we all have our own local witches, right? I mean, this is October, so we are into the Halloween spirit here, right? So we should be able to connect here. And so, however, he says, this is not going to be cheap. She has, a hefty price. So, okay. So, did he do that right away? Did he go ahead and consult with his local witch? Not right away. He waited till that last day. So here we are, one day before the end of the year. So finally he goes up to the old witch and he says, okay, this is my predicament. What do you think? And she says, you know what? Sure, I'll help you, but this is my price. And she says, I'm pretty lonely over here, and I would like to marry one of your knights of the round table. And she says, by the name of Gawain. And he said, King Arthur says, no, not Gawain. This was his best friend. So he could not see his best friend going with this old witch who only had one tooth. Apparently she smelled, and she made weird noises at odd times. I think we all know what those are. Okay. So he says, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that to my best friend. She says, okay. So his friend Gawain gets wind, and he says, he goes up to King Arthur and he says, your lordship, I'll marry the old witch, because this will save our round table and the kingdom. And King Arthur, reluctantly said, okay. So as soon as he said okay, and as soon as they announced the marriage, what does the witch do? We're not there yet. That would be nice. That's another story, another famous.
Hopefully answers the question.
Yeah. So what did the witch say? Anybody?
That's what the woman wants.
Yes. What does a woman want? Nobody?
Companionship.
Companionship? How about money? Marriage?
Happy.
Happy? Okay. Not. She says, simply to be in charge of her own life. Heard a lot of awe, so that's good. Huh? It's that simple. Money, none of those things. Just to be in charge of her own life. And I don't know, can we relate to that? Okay. So at that point, yes, everybody related. So all of the knights and those in charge of the court, they said, that sounds like a good answer. So they take it to the monarch, and the monarch says, very good, you are free. Actually, he was free on his own recognizance. It's just that he won't go back there and stab him or something and use the sword. So, are we done yet? No. At the wedding, of course, Gawain, he was polite, but the witch was at her worst. And so, he enters the bedroom chambers, and to his surprise, what does he see? A beautiful princess, right? And so he's shocked, and he says, what a sight. What happened? Most of us would not question it, though, right? And so she says, well, since you have been so kind, I have decided to be beautiful half the time, and I will be myself the other half of the time. Which would you prefer? And he thinks, this is a very difficult question. So he ponders it over. Which do I want? Beautiful, during the day with all my friends, or opposite at night, then I would have a beautiful lady, right? So he says, what does he say? Whichever you prefer. And with that, what does she say? I will be beautiful all the time. And so, what's the moral of the story?
Let the woman do whatever she wants.
No, it's if a woman doesn't get her way, things are going to get darn ugly. Thank you very much.
Which concludes the woman wants whatever to is the way she wants.